Google just updated their free AI app builder called Google AI Studio. I've used AI Studio before, and the fact that it's free to get started with makes it really easy to test out. But the real question is the new update any good? And is this something that you should use over paid options like Base44 and Lovable? By the end of this video, you'll know whether this tool is for you, and you'll know exactly how to use it so you don't waste any time getting set up. Later, we're going to talk about some lesser known features in AI Studio and also how to actually deploy your app. But first, I just sent off this prompt. And with this prompt, we're going to actually learn how to use AI Studio. So the prompt is, let's build an AI app that helps users manage their personal finances and budget effectively to save money. So this is just a general prompt. Of course, you can build any idea that you have with AI Studio, but this is a really good one, I think, to put this tool to the test. So while it's building out the first version, I'm going to talk a little bit more about AI Studio. It actually is more than just an AI app builder. It's basically a tool for developers to use Google's AI models for free. You can explore all of Google's AI models in one place. You can test them out for free, most of them for free. I think the most powerful models like Gemini 3 Pro, for example, or 3.1 Pro, their latest model, you may have to enter a credit card, but otherwise you can use AI Studio completely for free. And you can also test out their image models, things like that, just more in a ChatGPT interface. You don't have to use the app builder that we're going to be using in this video. So just wanted to let you know that there's more that AI Studio can do than just build apps, but building apps is the focus of this video. So inside of the app builder, it's very similar to tools you might be familiar with, like Base44 or Lovable. On the left side, we have our chat interface where we can chat with the AI, build features, ask questions. We can use speech to text, so we can just press that button and start speaking instead of typing out what we want to build, or we can just type it out. You can also add files, images, more context for the AI. On the top, we have preview mode, so we're going to be able to see our app as it's being, once we have the first version and versions are generated. And then you can also look at the code. Right now, there's not much code to explore because it's working, but we'll actually be able to see all the code, and you can export all the code and sync it to GitHub so you're not locked into AI Studio. I actually think one of the best ways to use AI Studio, the way that I've used it in the past, is by starting your app on AI Studio and then syncing to GitHub and moving on to something like Cursor or Codex from OpenAI, which I've been using a lot lately, as a way to continue building onto your app. So using AI Studio as like the starting point. So one of the other really cool benefits of AI Studio is that it's going to build AI features into your app. So something to be aware of is if you do leave the platform or once you're ready to actually publish your app, you're going to have to add a Google AI API key so that you can actually use the AI functionality. And this is kind of Google's whole reason for making this free, is because they want developers to start in AI Studio, add Gemini AI features, and then pay for those AI features as their app gets used by users. And then later in the video, I'm going to show you how to actually publish your app so that anyone on the internet can access it. And I'll show you how to do this all through AI Studio. One other helpful tip is to get to Google AI Studio. You can, of course, search it on Google to get to it, but you can also just put ai.dev into your URL, and that is going to take you to AI Studio. So ai.dev, super easy to remember to get to this AI Studio. Some other things that are cool, it's telling you some tips while we wait, is that there's a lot of functionality and data that using Google's AI Studio and the Gemini models can bring into your app. So something to keep in mind. And this is something you should think about when you're thinking about what AI models you want to use in your app. So for example, here we can use Google Maps data to have real-time Google Maps data. You can build an agent that can pull information about places, routes, directions. That's something that is unique to Google because it is Google Maps. So that's one of the benefits to using Gemini and using AI Studio. So it can build all of that in for you. If you're using OpenAI, it's not going to have Google Maps data by default. Now, you can also connect to the Google Maps API to pull that in, but it's not going to be as seamless. So when you're deciding which models you want to use in your app, that's something that you might want to consider is what are some of the other, functionality or data sources that can be pulled in. So for example, using the Grok API, you're able to pull in Twitter data, X data, really easily using the Grok API. So different AI APIs are going to have some different data sources that you could potentially pull in. In just a second, you're going to see the actual preview of the first version that AI Studio built using the prompt. Before that, I'm going to share a couple more helpful tips that a lot of people don't know about AI Studio. So up here we have Remix. So if you click on Remix, what you can do is basically take your app, all the code that was generated, and it's going to essentially fork it into a new basically page. You could think of it that way. It's going to take all of the code, duplicate it, and then you can start fresh in a new app from that point. It's also a really cool way to remix apps that they have like an app gallery that you can start with and then remix from there. You could almost think of it as like open source software where you can start from an app that's already created and then remix it and chat with the AI to build onto it. So it's a great way to save time and also start from something that is already built, at least partially, instead of starting from scratch like we are. So it's a really cool thing that AI Studio has built in and good to be aware of. And then up on the top right, there's settings. And then here, there's a few hidden features that, again, a lot of people don't know about. So first is you can select the model for your chat. I'm selected to 3.1 Pro Preview, which is the most powerful model. I recommend, especially for coding, generally you want to use the most powerful model. Even if it ends up being more expensive, the way I like to think about it is you're going to save money in the long run, because if you're using a less powerful model, you're probably going to have to spend more time and even more money with runs of the model over time to fix the mistakes. So it's just much more efficient and overall could end up being more cost effective to use the most powerful model available. System instructions. So this is kind of cool if you want to add instructions so that the model specifically knows about certain things. So one example here that they give is to avoid using gradients. So that's one example of like system instructions that you might want to do. You can also upload an instructions file, which there are different instructions files online. You could even find some open source ones on GitHub, or you can write your own. If we go over to the code tab, we can see there's a lot more built out now. And right now it's writing the index.css file. If you don't know what any of this means, that's totally okay. You don't have to ever touch the code file. If you're a developer, it's cool to be able to go in and see the code. But the way that AI Studio works and the way that I think AI-driven development is moving is that you don't have to even look at the code, understand what the code is doing. Even really experienced developers are starting to not look at the code as the code gets written because these AI models are getting so good. So it's becoming more about looking at the output of what the code is generating. Okay, so we have a response from the AI model. I built the AI Finance Manager app. Of course, this is a really basic first version. There's so much more that we could build. This video isn't going to be, a 2-hour video going over everything. My goal here is to give you an overview so you can make a decision of, whether you want to use AI Studio, how it compares to other tools like Lovable. So let's get into it. We have the dashboard overview, visualizations, budget tracking. It added an AI financial advisor. So this is cool. And this is something that you'll notice when using AI Studio. It'll almost always add an AI feature, or maybe always add an AI feature, even if you don't ask for it. And this is because of what I said before, that Google wants to showcase their AI models and they want you to build apps that use their AI models and use Gemini, because that's how they make money at the end of the day, is people using their AI models. So it's cool to see that it adds that in automatically, but you can use it for free in testing out the app. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. Transaction management and data persistence. The app is styled using Tailwind CSS with a clean, modern utility design. Okay, so you can try adding some transactions or clicking Analyze My Finances to see the AI in action. So here we have the app that it built and the dashboard. It looks like it put in some transaction data, like dummy data, which I think is also really nice, that I noticed AI Studio always does. So I'm going to click Analyze My Finances and let's test out this AI feature. And then I'm going to show you how to add a backend through AI Studio. So we're going to add in an actual database. Right now, all the data is stored in the front end. So there's no actual database that persists if we reload the app, like if we add an expense and reload the app. Okay, so we have a financial advisor and it's giving us some advice based on the specific transactions and data in the app. So I'm going to send a message. I like to add a real database. And this is the first time I'm actually testing the new AI Studio database functionality. Everything so far feels similar to what I've seen before. So this is where I think we're going to really put it to the test and learn how good it actually is. All right, cool. So it pulled this up, enable database through Firebase. So Firebase is Google's database product, and it's going to be on the free tier by default. And all you have to do is click enable Firebase. So far, I'm impressed. That was really easy. Something that I've in the past kind of felt about Firebase is it's felt kind of intimidating, especially compared to Supabase, which I found really easy to get started with. So if AI Studio makes this Firebase setup really easy, I think that's a really cool feature that I think is going to bring a lot of people into the Firebase ecosystem. So yeah, cool to see that. So yeah, let's see what actually happens as it builds this out. Also, if you want to see other videos learning how to build full stack apps from start to finish that are even more complicated than this and kind of go into a lot more detail, check out some of our other videos on the channel where we cover how to build a full stack app, and I cover other tools like how to build it with Cursor, Supabase, user authentication, and really building it from start to finish. You can also check out the link in our bio, nocode.mba, and check out our AI SaaS course, which goes into this in more detail as well. One thing I will say is it is taking quite a long time. I'm, pausing the video and editing out the waiting for you, but it is taking longer than setting up other backend databases that I've seen so far. So just something to keep in mind, at least in terms of the time to set up. Okay, now it has finished the Firebase setup. I'm logging in through Gmail, which is a nice feature that it has built in. So it also added user authentication. Now we can see the dashboard is empty because I'm a new user and there's no more dummy data. We're actually it's going to use real data here. So let's test out adding some data and seeing if it saves. So we'll add an amount, 14. Let's say dinner, description, Chipotle. All right, so I'll add the expense, and we can see here that I'm logged in under my account. So this is only for my specific account. Now, the one thing I want to find out is how do I view the database? So this is connected now to a Firebase database, which is really cool. Firebase is Google's version of Supabase. Basically, it's a backend database and user authentication. So I just asked how I could do it, and it gave me a direct link to our Firestore database for the project. View your Firestore database, just make sure we're logged into the same Google account that we used to set up this project. Okay, so here we are in Firebase in the Cloud Firestore database. So we can see under users, that's me, that's the user we just created. And if we go to transactions, we can see that transaction we added is there in the database. So that's really cool. I will say this is definitely, I think, the easiest way to get a Firebase Firestore database set up with an AI vibe coding tool that I've seen. So if you really want to use Firebase, I definitely recommend using AI Studio and building it from here. And then, of course, we can export our app, continue building in Claude Code Cursor, but this part will already be set up for you. So, of course, there's a lot more we could do to build onto this if we wanted, but at this point, we have the basic setup completed. We've built out the first version of our app. We've connected to Firebase for a backend database and user authentication. And overall, I am really impressed with the new AI Studio, specifically the Firebase connector. Everything else I think is pretty similar to what I've seen before, but the Firebase connection, the fact that it actually worked, even though it did take a bit of time for it to do that connection, the fact that it is able to do that is really cool. And the fact that it's free as well is really cool and something that is worth checking out. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos like this. We're going to make more videos in the future diving into AI Studio and Firebase even more. So subscribe to our channel for that and leave a comment if you have any questions at all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.